the gym has always kind of been my safe space, my escape, where I would go, to release stress. If I'm having a bad day, you're going to know about it. I'm not going to, I'll try and show up with a smile, but I also am very real about it. It really saved me, I think, in a lot of ways by like giving me something to focus on and like a sense of purpose.
Ashley Altheide's story challenges a lot about what we think fitness is supposed to be. This isn't about aesthetics, it's about using movement as a tool for resilience. If you've ever used purpose or really dove headfirst into a challenge to get through something difficult, then this conversation will really resonate with you. Let's dive in. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Health Movement Podcast. I'm Derek, your host, a teacher of over 20 years and a certified personal trainer. And before I introduce our awesome guest today, I want to reiterate that we are not doctors. So before you go changing anything, please consult with your physician. All right. Now, with us today, and I forgot to double check the pronunciation of her name. So let's see if I can nail
I
this
meant to
first
say
take.
that too.
Today's guest is Ashley Altheide. Did I
Good
say it right?
job. You nailed
Yes,
it.
there we go. A strategic growth partner for healthcare practices, content creator, and athlete who openly shares her experiences with discipline, emotional growth, and redefining what it means to be at your best. Ashley, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. That was a great introduction.
Well, thank you. I have to admit, though, on your LinkedIn profile, you have that little speaker next to your name, and I must have hit it 20 times to make sure I'm writing it out phonetically. I'm like, all right, make sure you get this right. So I'm glad that
Yeah,
worked
you
out all
nailed it.
right. So just looking through a lot of the stuff, you seem to have done a lot with yourself and hit all sorts of bases, but it all seems to come back down to um, kind of identifying what the best you can be is in working towards that. Can you talk about maybe how you got where you are right now and a little bit of background?
Yeah, so I studied healthcare, health administration whenever I was in college. I actually started college with a biochemistry major. I thought I wanted to go to
Oh,
med school. So I've always, I have been involved in sports since I was a kid. So I grew up, caring about my health, my well-being overall. Thought I wanted to either go into med school or dentistry. Once I got into college and all of the science and math classes, I was like, I like healthcare, but maybe more of the business side of things.
I gotcha.
So yeah, like halfway through college, I ended up switching my degree to health administration and really focusing on the business side of healthcare. I've worked in healthcare ever since college. My first like real job in healthcare was at an orthopedic clinic, and I I've stayed in healthcare since then and a variety of things, mostly the sales and business development side of things. I've done pharmaceutical sales, med device sales, and through all of that, I've gotten to see the good sides and the bad sides of healthcare, like the good sides of it, but also what happens when you don't take care of yourself. And so that has kind of always inspired me, motivated me to want to take care of myself, even more because I see what happens when you don't.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
And then, yeah, have been, like I mentioned, I've always been an athlete. Out of college, I got more involved in weightlifting, and through that, kind of got me into competitive bodybuilding for a while. And that really taught me a lot of the structure and discipline. I think a lot physically, but also mentally, that I really needed to be able to be a competitive bodybuilder. And I since have kind of gotten away from competitive bodybuilding. I think I'll always be a bodybuilder in some sense because the habits that you form, just the skills and the daily discipline is always going to kind of stick with you. But yeah, that's kind of what has led me to, especially like I said, focusing on the mental side of that. That's, I think, what made me strong mentally and really just trying to always strive to be my best.
I love that. And you mentioned bodybuilder. You don't look like The Rock, though.
Yeah.
There's this nervous stigma around women lifting weights and that they'll become massive, you know?
Yeah.
So,
So
was
there
that
is a lot of I knew nothing about bodybuilding when I first got into it. I just went to it was actually during COVID when everything had shut down, and the gym has always kind of been my safe space, my escape, where I would go, to release stress after a crazy day whenever I was dealing with just hard times in life, like anxiety, depression, whatever. I really escaped through the gym. And whenever COVID happened and all the gyms shut down, that was really hard for me.
Mm.
And I had been working in a gym as a personal trainer, kind of on the side, probably not nearly to your extent,
I'm an
for a
elementary
couple of
school teacher first. That's really on the side.
Yeah, so you understand that then.
Yeah.
But, through that, I met some friends that I worked with at the gym that were also personal trainers, and they all were into bodybuilding. And again, it was during COVID, so, like, everything was shut down, and they're still bodybuilding didn't stop. It was a lot different then than what it looks like
Yeah.
now, how I see it now. But I went to one of their competitions. A bunch of the trainers that I was working with were competing in a show that weekend, and I think I just wanted a different challenge at the time, again, especially because everything was kinda shut down, and, so I was like, "I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna
Yeah.
do a bodybuilding competition." Knew nothing about the different divisions or classes or anything like that, so I really didn't know what I was getting into at first. But all that to say, yes, there are a lot of different classes of bodybuilding. So there's women's physique and women's bodybuilding, which those are kind of the female rocks, if you will,
Yeah.
that are
Yes.
like
Yeah.
massive and they bodybuilders. And then
Yes.
there's a couple of like steps down from that. The one that I did at the time was kind of the entry level into the sport for women. It's called the bikini division. And it's a lot more, it's really just kind of like a fit model type of physique.
Yeah.
Yeah, so not nearly like The Rock, not the
Yeah.
musculature, not so much the muscle mass, if you will, more, the overall shape of the physique.
Yeah. Strength, flexibility,
Yeah,
all that stuff, but just not, massive mass.
exactly.
That's a terrible way to put it. I always tell my students, "Don't repeat the same word in a sentence. Try to think in a massive mass," is what I came up with
Massive
right
mass.
there. I love it. So, I did see that you kinda chronicled everything, as you were going through the process, which was crazy. How was that experience to kinda put yourself out there as you're learning all this?
I love it. I don't know, I know when we were starting this and you said something about maybe if there's any topics that are off topic for me, I'm kinda like,
Yeah.
I'm kind of an open book, like, I'll share whatever. I really am glad that I did that at the time because it's kind of like having a digital diary. And
Mm.
so I got whenever I started sharing my prep, my first real bodybuilding competition, I was vlogging the whole thing on YouTube. And whenever I started that, I think it was like once a week, I would put out a vlog and I would record it throughout the week. And then once a week, I would share like my nutrition, the training that I was going through, really just everything that went into prep. And it was amazing because, like I said, for me, it was kind of a digital diary, like, I can go back and see everything, like, just having
Yeah.
those experiences documented, but also how I was feeling. There's so many highs and lows of bodybuilding, and especially whenever it gets down to the extreme part when you're, like, really in the thick of it, and it's
Yes.
very,
Yes.
very mentally challenging. So I love being able to go back and see all of that and see kind of how I was coping with things and just like my growth overall as a person. And then I got to connect with so many people through doing that. I met so many other bodybuilders that are now still some of my good friends to this day. I got to connect with people all over the country that are really all over the world. One of my really good friends is from Sweden, that
Oh,
I
that's great.
connected with from YouTube. We were both going through prep together and then being able to share it with other people, like getting messages from people about that also either were bodybuilders themselves and prepping for competitions and that they like sharing messages with me about how they could relate. And then people who weren't bodybuilders, but just were trying to take care of themselves. Maybe they were new to the gym or new to trying to lose weight and needed help with the nutrition side of things and like how to train properly and stuff like that. So it was so fulfilling being able to do it. I love it now. Like I actually just started vlogging again today.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, it's gonna
That's
be a little
awesome.
bit different because 'cause I'm not doing bodybuilding prep, but I'm going through a lot of changes career-wise and with my own personal, uh, opening starting my own business, consulting and stuff
Oh,
like that.
wow.
So I'm like, I'm gonna still do what I was doing with my bodybuilding prep, but more focused on like the career side. And I think that being a woman in my like mid 30s, being single, I think that there's so many things that I'm kind of experiencing and life changes, career changes, and stuff like that that I think other women can relate to. So I'm gonna try it. We'll see what happens.
Good, that's awesome. I love that. I love that. It's, I assume you do a new channel because it wouldn't fall,
I
or is
know
it?
I'm gonna do it on the same, yeah,
Oh,
on the
alright,
same. I
nice.
kind of have built that. I call it like, I guess my brand, for the last, gosh, it's been like 7 or 8 years now.
Oh, that's
And I
great.
thought about it. I was kind of going through like, do I rebrand? Do I start something new? But I think,
Well, I think one of the cool things is you strike me as an incredibly authentic person, so it might not be so much the bodybuilding journey that people were there, it was you, and they wanted to experience what you're going through, so that would make sense to continue with
yeah, I
the
think
same
that's
thing.
thank you for saying that. I appreciate I take that as a compliment being
Oh, it
authentic,
is. Yes.
especially like in today's world and especially with social media. I think there's so many things that are inauthentic. And that
Yes.
was one of the things like whenever I would go to show bodybuilding shows and stuff like that, and people that were watching my vlogs and following along would say like they appreciated that about me. Cause if I'm having a bad day, you're gonna know about it. I'm not gonna, I'll try and show up with a smile, but I also am very real about everything that I'm kind of going through. And I think with this kind of pivoting away from so much of the bodybuilding but a lot of it is still going to be the same. Like I'm still, even though I'm not competing in bodybuilding right now, a lot of the doing my cardio every day, my training, my meal plans, all of that is still consistent, maybe not to
Yeah,
the extreme that it was whenever I was prepping for a competition, but, a lot of those kind of skills and just daily habits that I formed in doing that, I'm gonna carry with me because it's so important just to my health overall. I learned so much
yeah,
just how to take care of myself from that. So I think, some women I may lose people that were just following me for the competitive side of things, but then I also will gain a new audience.
yeah, which I think is great, and I love that it seems like the bodybuilding was, it sounded like you just wanted the challenge
Yeah.
initially, but you kind of changed your whole lifestyle. Well, I don't know what your lifestyle was like beforehand,
Yeah.
but it seems like you've adapted a lot of what goes into that into your lifestyle, and it's a healthy way to go. So that's awesome that that's
Yeah,
continued.
definitely.
So, all right, now that we've gotten kind of where you were and where you are, you mentioned a few times the mental side of things. How are you taking the same discipline towards bodybuilding into just like normal everyday life, like staying healthy, eating well, getting your exercise in, getting your cardio? Because it's life's stressful. And how
Mhm.
do you stay with those habits consistently?
I think that's what helps with the stress and the anxiety and stuff like that. Through vlogging and stuff like that, I've been pretty open about my struggles personally with anxiety, especially depression at times. That's something that has run in my family. My family has had, a lot of people in my family have struggled with depression, with bipolar disorder, addiction. Addiction, especially, has been huge in my family. And I think once I found, well, whenever I was younger growing up, whenever I was in with, I want to say probably around middle school is when I really started experiencing that. I think is the case with a lot of people. Like you're
Yeah,
going through crazy hormones and stuff like that, and my thing back then, I was a runner. So, like, whenever I
yeah,
was feeling stressed or feeling down or whatever, I always wanted to go run. I would run for miles. I was a long distance runner and listen, like, just put my headphones in and listen to my music. And that was how I would clear my head. And then out of college, and that's when I kind of started getting into weightlifting and stuff. That then the gym became my escape and
yeah.
weightlifting became my escape. And so I think I'm blessed in a sense that I enjoy that. Like whenever I'm feeling down or I'm stressed out or whatever, that's where I want to go because it makes me feel better, like physically and mentally. So I think it really helps me deal with whatever I'm struggling with mentally. And then that kind of translates through to all other areas of your life. And like I had mentioned through bodybuilding, I kind of formed these daily habits, like getting up in the morning and doing my cardio. That's now one of my favorite things, my favorite part of the day, and it's really a non-negotiable for me no matter when I'm traveling for work and I
What
have a
cardio do you what's your go-to cardio?
if it's nasty outside like this, I, do an incline walk on the treadmill.
Yep,
Sometimes I'll do the stairs. Whenever I can, I would love to just go for a long walk outside. That's,
that's
like, my
mine
favorite thing. Yeah.
every
And
morning, yeah.
yeah, and I started a Bible study back in October. I've been doing it every day since then. It's like a 365 Bible study. So that's
Oh,
what I do,
awesome.
like, first thing in the morning, I get up, I go do my cardio. While I do my cardio, I'm reading. I've got the Bible app on my phone, so I'm reading whatever the scripture is that I'm supposed to read for the day, and then when I get done with my cardio, I do my Bible study, and I kind of, like, plan out my go through, like, my to-do list, where my meetings, whatever I have to do for the day, and it kinda just, like, gets me in a good headspace for the day.
That's good. So what time's your day start?
Usually, I'm up between, like, 5 to 6, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
That's what I shoot for.
reasonable.
Depends
Yeah.
how late I get to bed, but I usually shoot for, like, 5 to 6 in the morning.
Real quick, if you're enjoying this conversation, please consider subscribing to the channel and passing this on to somebody else you think would enjoy it. It really helps the channel out and allows me to continue bringing awesome guests just like Ashley to you. Thanks. Right back to it now. Days like this when it's freezing and the bed is so warm, you're like, all right,
Yeah,
maybe snooze a few times here because it,
exactly. I
yeah.
did today. I think I snoozed for an hour.
Oh, I do the walk in the morning too. I'll walk to the gym, do my workout, and then there's a nice, like, 2.5 mile loop that goes around, by a dam near where I live, and then I come back home. It's peaceful. It
Yeah.
relaxes me. I love it. But I asked, I can't say her name out loud or she'll respond, but Alexa, what the temperature was, and
Oh,
she's like,
yeah.
-4 degrees. I was like, "Oh, nope."
No, that's not happening.
Yeah, I'll walk to the car to warm it up, but that's gonna be the extent of walking outside.
That's
Uh,
crazy. I thought 23 was bad here. You're in the negatives. That's nuts.
yeah, no, and I can usually I'll do it when it's cold, but I'm like, "No, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it."
I
So
don't blame
that's
you.
that's your morning routine. I love that. I've been speaking with a few of the guests about the importance of habits and,
Mhm.
creating good habits and kind of getting away from the bad habits and being able to understand the difference between the 2. Um, what else? So you get that. When do you do your workouts? Are you every day, 3 times a week? What do you normally do for the lifting?
Yeah, I was. So whenever I was competing, I was working out, I was weightlifting 6 times a week. I've really peeled back with that the last, I would say, 5 to 6 months or so. And I think because I was so extreme about it for so long, I kind of
Yeah,
can. Like I don't have to work out like I was to be able to maintain what like my physique now and all that. So now I try to shoot for weightlifting, I would say probably at least like 3 to 4 times a week, but I'm trying to incorporate more things like yoga and Pilates or just activities that,
yeah,
like going hiking and different things like that that I didn't really do before. 'Cause whenever I was bodybuilding, it's like so strict. You're doing the same training program not every day, but it's every single week, the same workouts every single week. And it just got really monotonous and it kind of started to suck out what I actually enjoyed about it. Maybe you know what I mean? Because it
yeah,
just so I think now I still will stick to kind of the same training regimen that I was in before in terms of like the muscle groups that I work and stuff like that. But instead of being so rigid about it, I'm like, if I want to, I just go to the gym and do what I want to do, like what feels
yeah.
good.
I've
But
actually
yeah, I usually try
started
to shoot for a couple 3 to 4 times a week, I would
Oh,
say.
okay. I started putting into Chat GPT, like, give me a 5 exercise, 5 round circuit. I wanna hit shoulders extensively, but full body, and it comes up with and it's different stuff. It just mixes up, so I'll do that,
Yeah.
3 times a week, and yeah, you get into the same routine, and it gets a little monotonous, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Alright, I need
I
I
think
need to
I
switch
love
it up."
ChatGPT, first of all, I use that for everything, but it is good, I think, to be able to to switch it up and not doing the same thing all the time. Kind of gives you
Yeah.
something different to look forward to.
And it's incredibly accurate too. I was using,
Yeah.
I have Achilles issues I'm working through, and I gone to PT,
Oh
and
no.
I was like, "All right, my Achilles is sore, I need a workout for that. Give me, what I need to do." And it was most of the stuff that my PT had been giving me, plus some other things on top of it, and it wo it worked.
It's
I was
very
like,
accurate.
"Okay."
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
accurate.
So it was very helpful. It was definitely very helpful. So can I ask how the competition ended? Did you
Yeah.
go
So
through to the end, or what happened at the
yeah,
end of
I
that?
did. So I was gonna just do one competition. So I did my first competition, how I was telling you about when COVID started,
Yep.
and that was back in 2020, I think. Whenever I was prepping for like my very first bodybuilding competition, I don't count that one. 'Cause
No,
I didn't know what I was doing.
that's
I
a
didn't know
practice.
the different divisions, like, I didn't know and honestly, my coach didn't either, like and I didn't know that at the time because I knew absolutely nothing, and she was actually a women's pro in, like, the figure category, and so I thought I trusted her, I trusted my coach, and so I did that first one, and it was terrible, so I don't
A
really count that one,
Ashley,
and then
that's a preseason game. That game doesn't even
exactly.
count. Yes.
That was actually but from that, I will say I got very into the sport, and so for 3 years after that, I studied the sport, and I found out, like, the bikini category that I was competing in. I started following some of the pros and, like, really learning, "Okay, this is what my workouts should look like, and, like, this is how I should be eating," and kind of figuring out, like, what a good coach was. She's a great coach, I don't wanna say anything bad, just not for the
Yeah,
division. She was training me for a completely different division than what I was actually competing in, and that's
gotcha.
not helpful.
No,
So for 3
no.
years, I really followed it, and, I didn't think that I would ever compete again because I was so embarrassed after that first time, but I reconnected with a friend of mine actually from college, and he's now a bodybuilding pro, and he has a team of athletes, and he coaches a lot of different divisions,
Oh,
and
awesome.
yeah, and so he was like, "No, like, you have a lot of potential, you should really do this." So back in I think it was December 2023, that's when I started prepping for my first show, and I did the show that I competed in years before that I, like, embarrassed myself in, that was gonna be, like, my first real show, I'll call it.
Yeah.
And I should say whenever I was competing when I first started competing back in 2020, my best friend at the time was her name was BB, and she was really supportive of it, and she actually she died whenever I was competing
Oh,
prepping for that competition, so back to the whole, like, mental health thing, that's I
yeah,
think bodybuilding at the time was, like that was the most traumatic thing that I had ever been through, and it really saved me, I think, in a lot of ways by, like, giving me something to focus on and, like, a sense of purpose every day and, like,
yeah,
getting up and having structure and routine and really just helping me through the mental aspect of all of that. And then also just because she was so supportive of it, it was like being able to come back 3 years later and do that same competition again, it was kind of
yeah,
like redemption for me in a way.
yeah.
So
That's
I came back and I was just planning to do that one show, and my only goal was, like, to not get last place. And I actually ended up winning the whole show. I won not
that's
only my
fantastic.
class, but I won the overall, and then I
Wow.
qualified for nationals. And, my coach was like, "Well, no yeah, we're going to nationals now." I was like, "What?" Like, I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't even know really what that meant. So, once you do a regional show. If you get like first or second place in your class, then you qualify for a national show. And all the national shows are a little bit different, but typically at most of them, first place and second place get their pro card.
Mm.
And I got 3rd place. So the first time I
Ah,
got 3rd place. So then my coach was like, "Well, we have to go to the next one, like, you're so close." So then, like, 6 weeks, I went back into prep again for 6 weeks, and then I got ready for the next one and the next one. I ended up doing 3 national shows, and I kept missing my pro card by 1 place. And I needed to call it because I had been in prep for almost a year at that point, and it's just not
yeah, it's
healthy
not
at all.
healthy. No, not in the
Yeah.
long run.
And then, like, a lot of the I thought that I would come back, like, take a long off season, like, the feedback that I kept getting was that I needed to grow. I'm 5'9", so to show the musculature and, like, that shape, I need a lot more muscle mass than somebody who's 5 foot tall or
Yeah,
5, you know? So
yeah.
I needed a long growing season to, like, really put on some weight and put on some muscle, and did that for probably 6 months, and I was planning to come back out the next year. I guess that was 2024. Maybe no, that was 2024 that I was doing that, so I was gonna come back last year in 2025. And, I ended up pulling out last spring just because, like, a lot of the if I'm gonna do it, like, I wanna be competitive,
Yeah.
and it's gotten to it used to be, like, the bikini division was, like, the entry level division into the sport, and it was a lot of the girls were natural, especially at the amateur level, and it's just not like that anymore. Like, to be competitive, like, a lot of these people are on gear, and they're running
Oh,
cycles,
yeah.
and, it's just not something that I was really wanting to do. And again, there are natural federations and there are people that
Yep.
do it naturally, but like I don't want to go through what you go through to compete to not place well.
Yeah,
Like
no, I
I'm
get it. It's a
competitive.
lot
Like
of
you
work.
know what I mean?
Yeah, especially if other people are getting, enhancements through
Mhm.
whatever they're taking.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I haven't done it personally. I've had people on the show who have, and I've had friends who have, and I've seen the difficulty, especially the last 2 weeks. That
Yeah.
yeah, it seems like a nightmare, and if you're not all in, then it's
Yeah.
not worth it at
It's
all.
not, and I think one of the reasons that I got into it was for the health, like, to be
Yeah.
healthier, and there's a lot of habits that I learned that have helped me with that, and then also, like, I mentioned when I was vlogging the whole thing and people were reaching out to me, like, they were inspired by me, my friends that weren't bodybuilders that were inspired by what I was doing. I feel like if I were to start doing that, it would, I don't know, take away from, like, why I got into it and, like, really just the message that I wanna share with other people. Like, I don't want to make other people think that they have to do that, to be healthier, to
Yeah.
be able to, like, achieve that physique
I
or
see what you're
whatever.
saying.
Yeah.
Because it's the stage physique is not something you can keep for
No,
any
no,
sort of period of time. That's,
no.
male or female, it's unhealthy to stay that
Right, it
lean
is,
that
yeah,
long.
yeah.
Um, so you had mentioned at the beginning, you were talking about when you first started with healthcare and everything, you saw the good and the bad of it. Are there a couple keys that you have for people that might help them stay more on the good side of healthcare than the bad side?
Yeah, so when I say that, I mean, especially, I worked for a dialysis company for many years, and our patients were, like, the sickest of the sick, especially we did dialysis in skilled nursing facilities, so it wasn't just people that needed dialysis whose kidneys were failing, like, a lot of them had comorbidities and a lot of things that led them to that place,
Mm,
and that's what has kind of inspired my, like, I see what happens when you don't take care of yourself, so, like, the biggest things I would say, 1, I always tell people, number 1, drink your water. Drink a ton of
mm,
water. Like, I always drink at least a gallon of water a day, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, like, that's so much," and it's really not. And everybody that I say this to that starts there, I'm like, "You drink a gallon of water for 2 or 3 days, and I guarantee you'll never say again that, 'Oh my gosh, I can't do that, that's so much,'
yeah.
because your body adjusts like that, and then you're, like, craving water."
You have to
But yeah,
pee all the time. I as
you
a
will be.
teacher, I'm always like the teacher next door is Jen. I'm like, "Jen, I gotta go." She's like, "Okay, just leave the door open." I'm going. I'm gone.
I was working with one of my coworkers last week. We were, going around doing some, marketing together, and I had to stop and use the bathroom, and then we went to the next place, and I was like, "You're gonna kill me, but I had to go to the bathroom again."
You walk around
But
with a gallon jug in your hand
yeah.
too, just so people know.
Yeah. But yeah, drink your water, definitely sleep, like, making
Mm,
sure that you get I always shoot for, like, 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, and also trying to stay on a consistent schedule with that, I think is really important as well. Consistent schedule means just like your daily routine, what time you're waking up, what time you're going to bed.
yeah.
I feel like I'm a completely different person whenever I'm on a regular schedule like that compared to when I'm not. When I'm staying up later and waking up early or whatever, and I'm not getting good sleep, I can tell, and I think everybody around me can tell.
No, no.
So, yeah, sleep,
That's
water,
funny.
and, like, nutrition. Just, like, whole foods and trying to cut out processed foods, and, like, for me, sugar was something and still something that I probably struggle with, I think, the most. But it does like, sugar leads to inflammation, and I feel like any health conditions, like, issues that I hear about that people have, it always is linked back to inflammation of something, like
Oh, absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely, and
So I think that do what?
that's a tough one for me too. I will say, like, when I have those bad days, it's like the sugar is what I crave, and I
Me
know
too.
that's the worst thing for you, but those bags of Sour Patch watermelons, they're just
Oh,
they're
yeah.
just staring at me. It's like, "I'll make you feel better." And it's a
Mine's
lie.
chocolate.
Oh, is it?
Yes, yes, I'm a big chocolate, like, sweets, like cookies, that's what
Oh,
I always when
cookies
I'm
will get
having a
me.
bad day, I'm stressed out, I'm upset, I'm at whatever, I think I need cookies.
I actually found I'll go through the recipes on Instagram to try and find the healthy sort of protein ones that are
Oh,
desserts,
yeah.
and there was a good one actually with a ripe banana, you mush it up, protein powder, a little bit of, like, sugar-free chocolate pudding mix, and then a scoop of, plain Greek yogurt, and mix it
Ooh,
up.
okay.
You can throw it in the air fryer like a lava cake or just eat it like
Eat it like that?
pudding. It was
I gotta
bad.
try that. You have to
Yeah.
send me that one.
I will.
That'll
I'll
be my,
send you
like,
that one.
go-to. My thing recently has been rice cakes. Like, I'll get a rice cake with some kind of nut butter, and then I'll, like, slice up banana. Like, I've been doing the chocolate rice cakes with peanut butter
Yes.
and banana, and I drizzle honey on top. So that's kind of like it's kind of like a cookie.
I did see one with rice cakes, a recipe with rice cakes. I'll try to find that and send that your way too.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
But yeah, I
that's
would
funny.
say that like that's one of the things about bodybuilding whenever you're prepping for a competition, you're typically on a meal plan where you're eating the same 5 meals a day for weeks and then really the only thing that changes is just the amount. So like as you get closer to
Mm.
the competition, you're typically pulling your carbs out first, cutting back on carbs and then fats and like typically like protein stays the same, but from that I really think I again, same thing with the water, like, your body adjusts so quickly, and the things that I thought, before I started bodybuilding, I didn't cook, I ate fast food, like, several times a day or whatever, convenient processed food that I could
Yeah.
eat. And then whenever I started bodybuilding and I was just eating the same bland foods every day, I will say I think like my body adjusted, my taste buds adjusted, and now I crave those things. So even though I'm not
Oh,
on a
that's good.
restrictive meal plan anymore, for the most part, I still eat the same things that I was whenever I was prepping. And then I'll let myself like have a good meal every day. Not like fast food necessarily, but just
Yeah.
actually like cooking something and that's not so restrictive. And then and I will let myself like a couple times a week go out and have like a burger or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, Ashley, thank you so much for hopping on. I don't wanna take up any more of
Yeah.
your time on a Saturday, but how can people get in touch with you? How can they, check out the new journey that you're going on here?
So all of my social media and on like YouTube is where I document everything. That's Ash Cheeks. That's my Ash Cheeks.
Ah.
But it
I don't
sounds
know what
catchy,
you're
right?
promoting here, Ashley. It's not
Yeah,
that
right.
type of channel. Oh,
No,
alright,
that's
Ash.
YouTube and Instagram, and then on LinkedIn. I'm probably the most active on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's like my favorite social media. I try posting on there every day. That's
You're
where
on
I
there a ton, yeah, I noticed
yeah,
that.
I love LinkedIn. But yeah, just Ashley Altheide on LinkedIn.
Okay. Alright, well, I'll put everything in there. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you wanted to hit on that I'm missing here?
I don't think so. That was a lot. Thank you so much for having me. This was awesome getting to connect with you and
Yeah,
getting to share. I love anything health and wellness. So thank you so much for
awesome,
having me on, being able to share.
awesome. Well, thank you for coming on, and thank you everyone for listening. Please go jump over to Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever you're on, and give Ashley a follow there. I'll put everything in the description.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Alright, if this topic hit home with you, check out the video